Good morning. I'm Karen Yankovich. This is Link Up Your Marketing, where I am here every day-ish at 9 o'clock-ish to talk a little bit about some LinkedIn strategies that you can implement today. And I got an email the other day from somebody asking about what are the best practices for LinkedIn Live? So I thought that would be a great topic for one of these shows, because I'm happy to do this every day. But I would love to hear from you what you'd like to hear about. So if there's something that you've been thinking about on LinkedIn, you're not sure how to use, or you're not sure if there's a best way to do it, reach out to me and I'll be happy to talk about it here on one of these shows. So we are live today on my Facebook group. If you're not in the group, you can join us at linkedinforwomencommunity.com, which is where we are talking LinkedIn strategy every single day and trying to help you. It's completely free. It's my gift to you to help you with these strategies. We're also live on LinkedIn and live on YouTube. So if you're watching live, I'm happy to answer your questions if you comment in them in the comments as I'm speaking. If you're watching this on the replay, I will be sure to get back to you and answer your questions as you type them in. You can still comment in the comments and I'll get back to you when I see it. So LinkedIn Live, it's interesting. So first of all, it is technically still in beta. I think that's how they're referring to it, but it's been like that for like a year and a half, right? And a lot of I feel like a lot of changes have happened. So here's what I'm going to tell you. First and foremost, as with almost everything on LinkedIn, you got to test to see what works best for you. So what I'm going to talk about here today is what's working best for me. It may or may not be what works best for you, right? But these are the best practices as I see it. So you have to apply to get approved for LinkedIn Live. And you can just Google, how do I apply for LinkedIn Live? And it'll bring up a LinkedIn Help article that will get you the application. So let's talk about that first. So best practices for the application. And by the way, I had applied 3 times. I got denied 3 times. And then all of a sudden one day I woke up and I had the ability. So I never got an email that says, hey, congratulations. I just saw it was there one day. So I got denied 3 times. So if you get denied, apply again. But here's the thing, when you apply, they ask you for to share a live stream you've done somewhere else. Okay. So a couple best practices for that. So this is what I was told, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I was told not to talk about LinkedIn when I'm applying for LinkedIn Live. So I was like, all right. So what I did was, and I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but what I did was I specifically did a Facebook Live where I talked about personal branding. And I went all in on this. Like these little videos, I'm not going all in on them. I'm showing up every day. I'm teaching you. I'm helping you. You know, I drive them to my YouTube channel. Sometimes we send people, we drive people from our emails. But this Facebook Live, I went all in on because I picked this. Before I even did it, I knew it was going to be the video I was going to share in my next application to LinkedIn to apply for Live, right? So I specifically did a live for that. I made it about 15, 20 minutes, which is what LinkedIn really wants you to be doing. Note, these videos are on LinkedIn Live and I'm not doing 15, 20 minutes. So we'll get to that. But I made it about 15, 20 minutes. And I made sure that there was a lot of engagement. I invited a ton of people to it. I asked my friends, what are you doing at 3 o'clock today? Come to my Facebook Live. I need comments. I need engagement, right? So I things I wouldn't normally do, like call my business buddies and say, stop everything at 3 o'clock and jump on this live stream, right? But I did it because I knew I was going to use that one for the application. And that's the one I ultimately got approved with. So for whatever that's worth. So you get approved, you'll get denied, you'll apply, you'll get denied, you'll apply, you'll get denied, you'll apply, you'll get denied. Maybe eventually you'll get approved, right? So now we're going to talk about what happens when you get approved. So here's the thing. When LinkedIn first came out with this, remember that, and actually just this week, I did a video podcast. Oh, what episode number is it? I'm going to find out what episode number it is. Give me a second. Episode number 152. So if you go to KarenYankovich.com/152, you will be able to listen to a podcast that I did talking about 4 ways to use video on LinkedIn. Okay. And one of them is LinkedIn Live. So obviously I talk about it there. But LinkedIn also allows you to use native video, meaning you can upload video like you upload a picture, right? And that has to be under 10 minutes. So the prevailing theory and the strategy that LinkedIn came out with for Live was that Live will be for your longer videos, right? When you're you can maybe use it to broadcast to your team, right? You can maybe use it if you're doing a conference, you can broadcast it on live, right? So that was initially what it was sent out to do, right? So the difference though between doing a native video and LinkedIn Live is with LinkedIn Live, you need a third party involved. So with Facebook Live, Instagram Live, Twitter Live, all those things, you don't need a third party. There's a little button that says go live. That is not the case on LinkedIn. When you get approved for LinkedIn Live, you need to use a third party tool. I use StreamYard, right? So if you're watching this on Facebook and you comment, sometimes I can see who you are, sometimes I can't, right? That's because StreamYard is moderating this. I happen to love StreamYard. Like I have these things preset in here. Like, what did I say? It was 152. I have, I can edit this, and I'm going to edit this thing right here that I have ready to go at all times, right? So I have one also for my podcast. Right? Listen to the podcast. Because if I'm talking about a specific episode, I can say, listen to the podcast, right? So these are all preloaded in StreamYard. I love StreamYard. But you need a third-party tool. There is a free version of StreamYard. I actually pay for it because I want to be able to broadcast to multiple places. You can save it. All kinds of cool things happen when you get the paid version. So I have the paid version, but you absolutely don't need the paid version to do this. You can do it free. So you've been approved for LinkedIn Live. You've chosen your third-party app, in my case, StreamYard. And now you want a strategy, right? What's your strategy going to be for LinkedIn Live? Initially, what I started to do was every week, I was going to do a longer show. So like I'm at episode 152 of my podcast, right? What I started to do was bring back podcast guests and interview them a year later from the podcast. Sounds fun, right? Like so much fun, right? But remember, there's a lot that goes into that. I got to reach out. I got to schedule it. I have to email them. There's a lot of, guest management that happens with all of that. And we tried multiple different times to do that. I tried, again, you got to see what works, right? I tried mornings. I tried afternoons. The last thing I was doing was, like 4 p.m. on Tuesdays. And every Tuesday at 4 p.m. I would say to the guest, it could be 15 minutes, could be an hour. Sometimes we get a lot of engagement. Sometimes we get no engagement, right? When LinkedIn Live first came out, I was getting tons and tons of engagement. It is much less. LinkedIn is showing lives much less than they did in the beginning. And I don't know why that is, but it is not just me. I've heard the same thing from other people. So at the same time, starting with the pandemic, I started doing these daily short lives, right? And I was doing them initially because it made me get up and get dressed and brush my hair, you know what I mean, to get live with you guys every day. And I started to do it back in the spring because I always feel better and I'm more productive when I'm showered and feeling like I'm ready for the workday, right? As opposed to hanging out in my pajamas all day. I can do that on Saturdays and Sundays, right? So it was making me do that. And because I was going live on other platforms, I was going live on LinkedIn too, because why not? And I was getting a ton of engagement, right? So I stopped doing them because for a couple of reasons. One of the things that I was doing with StreamYard was the reason, and I'll, little behind the scenes to this Karen Yankovich strategy, the reason that I go live to LinkedIn, my Facebook group, and YouTube is because once it's live on YouTube, I can then, after it's done, add it to a playlist and it lives on my YouTube channel. YouTube owned by Google, right? So good SEO, good opportunity to get when people are on Google, on YouTube looking for LinkedIn strategies. Every day I'm coming up doing a new video, right? It's going to bring me up higher in the YouTube rankings, right? I don't think a single person has ever watched me live on YouTube. Not a single person. The only reason I do it is for that. But what was happening in the beginning of the pandemic, and I blame my computer, which I didn't know at the time because I bought a new computer since then, because when I was working from my house, I bought this fancy new desk that goes up and down, right? And I redid my office and bought a new computer. I actually bought a desktop computer with a great processor because desktops are cheap. You can do that, right? So for some reason, when I was doing it on my laptop, the video on YouTube, the audio and video was out of sync. And I'm like, this sucks. I don't want to be known as the out of sync person. If YouTube's sending people to my page and everything's out of sync, that's not serving my purpose. So I stopped doing the videos. I didn't realize that it was my processor that was the problem. But then people started asking me for them again. They were like, oh, I remember when you were doing those daily videos. I was like, really, you do? So I started to do them again. And now I have this new fancy computer, and now the audio and the video is in sync. Everything's good. So I continue to do them. And I have stopped doing the hour show because it is not serving me the way these short little videos are serving me. So even though this is not how LinkedIn intended for us to use live, that's what works for me. And that's why I said to you in the beginning, if you're just watching this midway, you got to go back to the beginning and watch this on the replay. This is what works for me. This is not best practices according to LinkedIn. This is what works for Karen. Okay, so I'll just recap here a little bit. What you need to do is apply, and you could just Google, how do I apply for LinkedIn Live? I had to apply 3 times before I got approved. I would go back and listen to this if you didn't hear the part about how to create a video that you use in your application, because they're going to ask you to watch a video that you've done somewhere else. And then you want to have a strategy. You need to use a third-party tool. I use StreamYard. And then you have to have a strategy for what you're going live. But I will tell you that, you know, my podcast gets more viewers from this. I get people saying, I watched your morning live and this, I watched your live and that. Like this person that emailed me the other day, Lauren, so good to see you here. This person that emailed me the other day and asked me about how to do live. I'm like, you know what? That's a great topic. I'm going to do it on a live show. And now I can send the link to her, right? So, and if you're watching this, thank you for this idea. I want your ideas, by the way. So do you understand what I'm saying here? Driving people to my podcast. And what I also say at the end of every one of these is, you know, if you liked this and you want to learn more about LinkedIn strategy, you want to have a sense of how you can start to step into LinkedIn with a bigger role for the bigger opportunities. LinkedIn is where the big opportunities live, right? I can promise you that. Check out our masterclass. It's free. It's on demand. Go to KarenYankovich.com/masterclass, right? So while I'm doing these videos every day, they are serving my business because people are listening to my podcast when I share my podcast on these videos, and people are registering for my masterclass, which then, you know, we don't sell anything on the masterclass, but I say, if this sounds interesting, book a call with us and let's chat, right? So I definitely get people that say, I watched your video about blah, 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 and I wanted more, right? So I use these little LinkedIn Live videos, and that's how they serve my business. I also love, by the way, that once they live on YouTube, because what I do is I've created, I don't think I put it in this video. I think I just had a moment this morning. What I also do is usually, and I'll put it in the, I'll edit the comments so it's there. There's a hashtag, link up your marketing. And if you click that hashtag, you can see all the other videos, right? So I can drive people either from my emails to one of these videos. I can drive them to to the full playlist on YouTube of all of the videos, right? So it gives me a place to send people. You know, I'm a firm believer that you need to give and give and give and give and give to grow your business. And this is just one of the ways that I give, right? I offer these free videos. I offer the free masterclass. I do my podcast, right? These are all ways that I give, so that if it's a fit, if you resonate with what I'm saying, you'll watch the masterclass. If you want more, you'll book a call. And on those calls, we totally want to serve you on those calls, right? We are not just looking to sell you on those calls. We want to serve you, but that's where we'll tell you what it looks like to work with us, right? So they serve us in many ways. These little videos serve us in many ways. So I hope that was helpful. This was a little longer than my normal one, but definitely check out the masterclass, KarenYankovich.com/masterclass, if you want to know a little bit more about all the strategies. And remember that this week, episode 152 of the Good Girls Get Rich podcast is all about video on LinkedIn. So check that out too. All right. I will see you guys back here again tomorrow, maybe. Bye.